Hello, colleagues. Our team has been working hard this entire semester in order to define leadership as practice. As a group, we have reflected on this term using our own positionalities, readings from class, and our own research. Through our reflections, we identified 3 key themes which we believe strong leadership models need to have in order for an organization to reach success. These 3 key themes are collaborative leadership, empowerment, and transformational leadership. Our amazing team for this project includes Maritza Barros, Asha Chana, and Nora Kerr McCurry. While all of our backgrounds are in education, Maritza and Nora are in higher education, and Asha is in secondary education. Nora works in New Jersey, while Asha and Maritza work in the Boston area. Therefore, we are all bringing different expertise and lenses to our team.
So, the literature about transformational leadership often compares it to the more traditional type of work construct where there is a hierarchical culture. But it's been shown that transformational leadership can be a more effective way not only to engage employees, but to support innovation, creativity, as well as productivity. So, transformational leadership is one where uh, the workers are empowered to lead themselves. It is one where the meaning of work is taken seriously. And again, the literature shows that work meaningfulness has been found to be an important element in employees' work lives, as noted by the authors of the study, The Linkages Between Hierarchical Cultural and Empowering Leadership and Their Effects on Employees' Work Engagement. Work meaningfulness as a mediator. An important role for any leader is to be able to lead change. Transformational leaders lead by example. They need to be perceived as ethical and fair so that they can achieve meaningful change in an organization. Transformational leaders are looking to make sure that the organization can move forward, and to do so, they influence their subordinates' attitudes and behavior. They can do this through communication of ideals and values and through influencing those around them. They will use both their formal and informal knowledge to move tasks forward and are interested in things like employee satisfaction. So, the idea then for transformational leadership is that it can only work when leaders demonstrate integrity, value positive leader follower relationships, and abide by high moral standards. One of the most interesting things that I've discovered through this process, our group work together, when we're talking about transformational leadership and how it is a strength when you have people who are not alike. Transformational leadership in homogenous groups is the title of this slide, and it talks about how when people are too much alike, they're less likely to take new approaches in thinking and they are less likely to advocate for meaningful change. If you want change to be successful, the literature tells us you need employee participation, you need people to feel a sense of ownership, and you need to make the change feel as though it's not threatening. And full participation for people who are not used to working with one another, for people who are unlike one another, can be the most successful because people have a stake in it and they're not necessarily thinking alike. So, out of all of the upside to working together with Asha and Maritza, I would say that we actually showed transformational leadership in action, and the fact that we are not alike was a real strength. We've been discussing throughout this presentation effective use of leadership styles and leadership practices in order to effectively manage change in an organization. Transformational leaders have a sense of social responsibility and are more concerned with the whole rather than their own self interests. Transformational leadership theory was introduced by Bernard Bass in the mid 1980s, and it's said to be one of the most thoroughly researched leadership models. We believe this is because it's been shown to be effective. When you are leading a group of people, you must realize that they are not a blank page. They're coming to the table bringing their own experiences, education, and positionality. But by recognizing individual differences, establishing and maintaining trust, transformational leadership can lead to a positive effect on performance. Transformational leadership means that the people who are following the leader have to have a strong identification with that person. The leader is raising the follower awareness and understanding of moral values and visions and encourages those people to rise above their own personal goals for the collective good of the organization. We read that the concept of transformational leadership is composed of four dimensions: idealized influence, inspirational motivation, intellectual stimulation, and individualized consideration. Transformational leadership can be effective in lots of different kinds of organizations because the leader is able to increase people's commitment, inspiring them to be loyal to one another, and recognizing that there are different needs for different people. And by being involved in this process, each person can develop his or her own potential.
Our group has defined empowerment as the feeling that one's opinions are valued equally in an organization to all other members' opinions. Everyone has something to contribute, and no idea is too small. Additionally, we can all learn from each other. We have different strengths and expertise. Therefore, we are supported, and reciprocally, we support others because we are always learning. By creating an atmosphere of empowerment, individuals will be allowed creative freedom and the opportunities to take innovative risks. When an individual is allowed to grow, the group will benefit. Empowerment is necessary for leadership as practice because the group will reach success when the individual is allowed intellectual freedom. Organizations thrive when there is a shared understanding of the meaning of work and a shared understanding of overarching goals. This is the organization's culture of empowerment. Some organizations set strict boundaries under which employees operate, which is stifling for individual creativity and a detriment to an organization as a whole. Other organizations have more collaborative, looser constructs where employees feel empowered to explore alternatives and enact innovative ideas. In the organization discussed by Fulmer, employees are encouraged to foster and are supported in an environment of trust. When the lowest hierarchical levels of employees feel valued and supported, they will trust others. This feeling of trust and value permeates a work environment so that employees feel empowered to take risks, engage in the overarching goal of the workplace, and are encouraged to share ideas for the betterment of an organization. In Moon Jun Kim's article, Employee Empowerment and Voice is used as a tool to reduce intolerance and discrimination due to race. Kim explains that more often than not, individual employees make judgments about their coworkers based on visible attributes. This may be conscious or unconscious, but regardless, these biases hinder empowerment and collaboration. The research found that teams who felt strongly supported or empowered by their organization and administration demonstrated less discriminatory attitudes. Therefore, the implication of this study encouraged organizations to host in-house social opportunities beyond official trainings so that employees have a chance to meet and get to know more people from diverse backgrounds. In these sessions, team members were encouraged to discuss mistakes, weaknesses, and biases that they may hold in order to troubleshoot these issues. From there, groups were asked how identifying and discussing these obstacles would allow them to improve their ability to accomplish tasks. The focus on individual voice allowed employees to feel empowered in the next steps of the organization and allowed for more truthful and trusting work environment. In this last example of empowerment, the focus shifts specifically to the realm of secondary education. Williams stresses the idea that teachers need to become and be seen as professionals in their field, like doctors or lawyers. This means that teachers need to be empowered to become decision makers in school systems and not just seen as content specialists. This is especially important because it reduces the distance between decision makers and those affected, aka students. As is true in the two aforementioned examples, teachers are individuals who, while being flexible, communicative, and accountable group members, also have specialized talents and skill sets which need to be recognized. When one can grow individually, the group benefits. Williams discusses this model of empowerment in teacher-led schools. He believes that teacher leaders need to meet as a group and divide up tasks among smaller groups. These teams will then evaluate each other and provide each other with constructive feedback. Additionally, if an issue arises, the group must identify the problem, find a solution, and implement it. Therefore, all ideas are welcomed, and individuals are empowered to share rather than solely listening to initiatives created by administrators who are not in the classroom.
In the context of the article quoted in the slide, the researchers found that employees' engagement is associated with leaders' behavior. Effective leaders model by example. The ability to provide a sense of belonging for all employees creates more opportunity for collaborative leadership to occur. In the work of diversity and inclusion, we must learn to think differently and behave differently than we've ever been accustomed to before. If the leaders of the organization embrace this notion, its professional community will more than likely follow suit. Empowering leaders to learn new inclusive practices that better equip them in the area of diversity is best accomplished when employees first feel as though they belong or are a part of the organization. The other empowering factor is derived from the professional leader's ability to contribute to decisions and the direction or identity of the organization. Collaborative leadership and transformational leadership combined offers the prime environment for progress and positive change in the areas of diversity, equity, and inclusion to occur. The authors of the quote displayed above remind us of the never-changing truth that the challenge facing educational leaders in every nation state in the world is to reprioritize practices so as to address the pragmatic needs to successfully lead schools, school systems, and universities effectively and efficiently, while at the same time to ensure despite the business of their lives, that they address the difficult challenges posed by social, political, and economic realities, by issues of disparity, poverty, oppression, conflict, and prejudice, and by inappropriate uses of power. The tough part for some in the position of power to create change is the charge to reprioritize budget and resources. In order to allocate appropriate resources for the work of diversity, equity, and inclusion, we must be willing to give up a little bit in a lot of areas, and that is very challenging. No one wants to have to give up what they've grown accustomed to in order to distribute resources to other places, even if there is a high demand. If we can assist members of the community to think collectively rather than selfishly, then maybe we can start to experience the power, the true power of collaborative and transformational leadership. Working in this collaborative manner provides the opportunity to find a common purpose, vision, and/or a goal. Transforming the existing culture of any organization necessitates senior leadership commitment, professional leadership practices, and outstanding collaboration between organizational departments, its constituents, and community partners. Administrative leaders who consider transformational strategies view diversity as a positive social force in higher education. Practice and heroic model of leadership will only continue to reduce the energy and creativity of people in our organizations and communities. No longer is the heroic model of leadership effective in creating change within diversity, equity, and inclusion. We need to leap beyond tokenism and move towards a more integrated collaborative model combined with organizational support and resources. According to the literature, there is a clear association between leadership and diversity that is synergistic because diversity promotes change as an emergent agent in the structuring of higher education, while leadership promotes practices that identify diversity as a nested context for achieving balance in the social relations between higher education and society. When we realize that all of our best work begins with and comes out of diversity, equity, and inclusion, it will be much easier to prioritize resources and support for bold ideas and boundary-breaking behaviors. Ultimately, engaging in this work collectively will promote professional and personal growth that will bring out the best in individual leaders. Finally, a clear understanding and definition of where the university is headed is critical and necessary to generate buy-in and commitment from all community members. Murphy in 91 stated, "The most effective leaders have been those individuals able to adapt their style and leadership behavior to the needs of the situation and the followers." When problems or issues arise in pursuit of their organizational vision, effective leaders must change their style and show flexibility based on the specific situation or problem. The collective commitment to the common purpose allows the group to learn and grow together through and in spite of any turbulence experienced along the way. A collective leadership approach led by high-performing transformational leaders at an organization that completely supports the work of the collective is extremely powerful and really is the dream when it comes to creating cultural change within an organization in the areas of diversity, equity, and inclusion.
For anyone interested in further reading or questions from our presentation, we have included our works cited page here. Please feel free to look up the articles or to reach out to us if you have any questions. Lastly, thank you for your time, and we hope that you enjoyed our PowerPoint and findings as much as we enjoyed working together to create it.